presence of side conversations is partially dependent on the content and also on the social context. These side conversations don't have to be from one audience member to another, but can be a text, an email, or any other social media. People are becoming increasingly interested in the effects of side conversations in a discussion, especially since popular vote goes to them hurting discussions. The writers at Northwestern University believe these side conversations can be beneficial. Research has demonstrated the opportunity to develop a more cooperative work style. If people know they can have side conversations, they will. Being able to communicate with others provides new and unique ideas. Group norms emerge based on opportunities people have to communicate with one another. The author states, a norm of a group unity is likely to emerge when group members know they can only have a discussion that will be monitored by all other group members at all times. And a norm of faction forming is more likely to emerge when group members know they can utilize dyadic communication opportunities. Whether or not the conversations hurt the group depends on the task. In the first test, one group of 3 was given an online chat room to communicate and no other means of communication. They were to use the chat room and only the chat room throughout the discussion. The other group of 3 was also given an online chat room as a means of communication, but they were also each given a private chat room when they could communicate with one particular member of the group without letting the other member in on the conversation. Participants were randomly assigned an agency to represent. The task was to accumulate as many funds as possible for the company. This task asked each individual to not only look out for the group as a whole, but for themselves as well. This test showed that the first group was more able to form a group unity and to focus on the future of that group. They were less likely to single one person out and more likely to come to an agreement. In contrast, an opportunity to engage in a dyadic side conversation led to a weaker emphasis on the future and fewer agreements between the 3 group members involved. In the second test, all groups were given an online chat room, as well as side chat rooms where they could communicate with each individual member of that group. They were given a similar task, but it was different in some cases. The differences were that instead of trying to accumulate funds, they simply had to rank each company based on its desirability. This task did not require the participants to look after themselves, but only to look after the group as a whole. Unlike in the first study, only one group actually used the side chat rooms, even though they all had access to them. In this test, they found that although the presence of dyadic conversations resulted in more disagreements, it also resulted in more success. The ability to talk individually allowed the members to bring new and unique ideas to the table, and it made them 50% more successful with dyadic conversations. Taken together, the 2 experimental studies suggest that managers should thoughtfully consider whether to allow or to encourage dyadic communication possibilities. A person's intuition often informs us that engagement in dyadic side conversations is inappropriate and deteriorates the meeting's productivity. The results of these tests suggest that this is not necessarily true. Although they do find that it's important to restrain people from side conversations when the purpose is to find agreement. Our result also indicates that when the meeting requires creative input and benefits from diverse perspectives, dyadic conversations become very beneficial. That said, it's recommended that managers be transparent and precise about how this is done, so that dyadic side conversations are only used for conversations that can benefit the task and not when agreement among all parties is needed. Failure to match dyadic communication with the group's task might not only cause irritation among group members, but it may also be detrimental to the custom or the outcome of the task at hand.